Today we will be looking at Titus, chapter 1, verse 15, picking up right where we left off in the discussion in NASB 95 as it reads in verse 14. Those that are turning away from the truth and turning to the commandments of men. And now here in this context of reflecting on the commandments of men, we're thinking about purity and defilement and a call to say, oh, don't live this certain way if you want to be pure. But Paul's going to correct that with some teaching in verse 15. So let's start by reading it in Greek, and we'll pick up with the reading it in the New American Standard Translation. So, Panta kathara tois katharois, tois de memiamenois, kai apistois uden katharan, ala memiantai auton kai ha nous kai he sunedesis. So the New American Standard off to the left here. To the pure, all things are pure. But to those who are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. But both their mind and their conscience are defiled. So working through this here, one of the things we will notice is a lack of explicit verbs, which means we're looking for things in the nominative so that we might have a predicate nominative. And indeed, if we, in our software, highlight over this first word, we realize panta is a nominative plural. So nominative plural. Potentially this is our subject. All things, you could say, but you could just translate it as all, and then we have another nominative, clean. All clean or all pure. And this is also an adjective. Both of these functioning substantively, nominative, plural. So we would have panta as our subject, and then you could have in brackets are, and then predicate nominative, kathara. All things are clean, and then it says tois katharois. Dative plural, to the clean ones, or to those who are clean. So that would be modifying are there. So that would be all things are clean, implied are clean, to the clean, but again, bring that forward. It's post-positive, so it shows up after its kind of normal place in the sentence. So one thing to note, right here, it starts off with kind of the substance of the sentence, and then the dative for this first sentence follows. But now we have dative in this section, and I'll color code this, uden katharan at the end. So this is kind of functioning in a little bit of a chiastic structure where you'd have one, A1, A2, B1, B2, where you kind of have the structure looking like A, B, B, A. So that's kind of a verbal thing Paul is doing there. So all things are clean, first sentence. We'll actually pick up with looking at this last section. But then we have uden. This is nominative singular, nothing, no thing, and then nominative singular again, and then here we would supply is. So no thing is clean. So all things are clean, nothing is clean. How can he say this? All things are clean, nothing is clean. Well, the difference here is who is the one for whom this is being talked about. The one is to the clean. The other is tois, dative plural, to those who are memiamenois, which is those who are defiled. And this is a participle. So it's a participle, so it's a verb, but it's functioning in this case as in the same way that unclean is functioning here. So it's a group to those who are defiled, or to those who have been defiled. It's a perfect passive. So to those who are or have been defiled, and to the apistois, to those not having belief, to the unbelieving. So to the unbelieving and to those who have been defiled and who are defiled, nothing is clean. Allah, but, so there's a contrast to what's seen there. So to the pure, all things are pure, but to those who are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure but Allah. And then we have another verb, and here we actually have a finite verb, meaning to be defiled. Interestingly, you'll note in your software that this shows up as a singular, but in fact this is actually a plural. So this is an example of where you can't always trust where your software will take you. And one of the clues for that is going to be the fact that we have kai, both of these are nominative, so their minds and their consciences. All of these together, their minds and their consciences are defiled. So we have a plural here, modifying it. So their minds and their consciences, plural, are defiled. So that's just a good reminder that even though we greatly appreciate our software, sometimes it's tagged wrong, and this would be an example where Logos actually got this tagging wrong. But this further just illustrates that if there's an impure heart, if there's an impure life underneath whatever actions of desiring to pursue righteous actions, if we don't have our hearts fundamentally regenerated and made new and made clean by the Lord Jesus Christ, all of our actions will be flowing out of ultimately a mind and a conscience that's defiled. So this verse really is just highlighting the significance of having a clean and a pure heart, and the need to be circumcised in heart, as the Old Testament talks about. So that is Titus 1, verse 15.